Training for cross country is quite simple, and probably some of the first things you need to know about is mileage and easy runs. Your mileage is a good way to plan your weeks and months of training. For beginners, I'd suggest probably anywhere from 10 to 20 miles in a week. But for most high school runners, you're probably going to be doing 20 to 40 miles in a week, depending on when you started and how fast you are. But for the more advanced runners who've been doing it for a while, I'd say 40 to 60 miles is a good range. I wouldn't really go over 60 though. Once you have your mileage figured out, after that you just plan out your week based on that. Mostly because your long run is going to be the most amount you do in a week. You'll probably be doing easy runs 4 to 5 times a week. Easy runs are going to make up most of your weekly training. Easy runs are exactly how it sounds. They are pretty much easy. You go at a pace that feels comfortable to run, but obviously not too easy, but it's comfortable enough you can hold it for multiple miles. It's a good way to recover but also improve your endurance at the same time. A lot of people use these just to build endurance and also to help recover from harder workout days. If you don't really know what your easy run pace is, usually it's probably about a minute to 2 minutes slower than what your 5K race pace is. For me, for example, 5K race pace is probably in the 5:20s to 5:30 range, right? So, but my easy paces usually are 6:50 to 7:30. So that's about a minute and a half slower, close to 2 minutes slower. One thing I would be careful about though, when dealing with your mileage, is don't do too much, because you can risk getting hurt, overtraining and stuff like that. But generally just find somewhere you're comfortable running, you're not really injuring yourself or getting hurt. And then each year as you go throughout high school and even college and stuff, probably increase the mileage you do 5 to 10 miles in a week. So if you did 30 mostly all last year, try to get more comfortable at 35 or 40. Thing to note is though, don't just jump to that mileage quickly. You want to slowly build it up. So start your first week of the summer, should probably be around 10 miles, 15 miles for the first week, and it's all easy runs. Maybe even for the first 2 weeks, nothing but easy runs, and you're slowly upping the mileage. But then by the end of June, early July, you should be close to where your goal mileage is. Take your time with it. You can't just jump straight to it, you'll get hurt. Now that we established mileage and easy runs, what we need to establish now is workouts, which is the faster paced stuff. Kind of helps get you into shape or builds endurance. They all have different things that they target. The first main workout that you'll see any professional do, no matter the distance between the mile all the way to marathons, is tempo running or threshold running. All the same. Tempo runs can be anywhere from 3 miles to 6 or more. That's more the elite athletes with the 6+ tempo runs, but for a general starting range, 3 miles is a good start. However, if you do it by time, 20 minutes would be a good starting point for a tempo run, going up to 35+ minutes. Eventually, when you get used to that, the paces for a tempo run, a pretty good rule I found was 30 seconds slower than my 5K pace. That seemed to be pretty close to what my tempo pace could be. But if that doesn't work for you, I suggest getting the app V02 calculator, or just look up running pace calculators. Put in your PR and it'll tell you your paces for training. Tempo runs and threshold runs should feel hard, but not like race hard. It should feel like it's hard, but you're in control. You're not gasping for air and wanting to quit. Tempo and threshold runs can also be run in intervals. So mile repeats, K repeats, even 800 repeats, do all those with 1 minute rest and do it at your tempo pace. It can also be done like that. For tempo runs, threshold runs, I'd suggest doing them twice a week, probably in the summer, even early season, but at the very least once a week, because it's pretty much the crucial workout to improving your 5K, 10K time, 8K time, whatever it is. For the next type of workout, we got, you can call it V02 Max Workouts or race pace workouts. This is where you're going to be doing, you know, your classic mile repeats, kilometer repeats, you know, 800 repeats, 400 repeats, stuff like that at your race pace, your goal race pace, or even your current race pace, if you will. And this is where you're going to have your, you know, usual few minutes of rest, or, you know, stuff like that. And this is going to be the harder workouts. These are like what you would expect in a training plan. Good way to simulate race day. Another type of workouts are called, or what I call them, speed workouts. Basically, these are faster than your 5K pace, goal 5K pace. For example, if your goal pace is 5:30, then you'll probably want to do these in about 5 flat, 450s, something a little bit faster. So, and the more you do these reps at these pace, the more comfortable your race pace becomes. Some examples of workouts like these would be 200 repeats, 400 repeats, 300s, if you will. All of those at paces faster than what your goal pace is. These are going to be a little bit more tougher on your body, but you know, if you get the rest right, for example, 200 repeats, maybe we're talking a minute rest or 200 jog rest. The point of the speed workouts is to, you know, obviously make your race pace more comfortable, but work on your form. Another version of some speed workouts, you could say, is hill repeats. Hill repeats are faster than your 5K pace, but, you know, obviously going uphill and your recovery would jog down the hill. Jog down the hill, sprint uphill. It's a good way to, you know, because cross country has a lot of hills, so doing hill repeats gets you more accustomed to going fast up them, and it also helps with strength and your speed overall and your form. You know, you could do this also in many versions, like a very steep short hill for quick sprints up, but it's like a lot more steeper, so it's a lot slower. Or you could do a long hill that's not as steep, so it represents a more slower burn when you're going up the hill, and maybe not as fast. Another type of workout, which is one I don't really personally like as much, is fartleks. There's many ways to go about a fartlek. You know, you could do at race pace with shorter time. For example, you could do 10 by 1 minute at your race pace, 1 minute jog. Or you could do it at your tempo pace and do like 4 reps of 5 minutes at your tempo pace with 1 minute, 2 minute jog, stuff like that. You could even bump up your race pace, go race pace to like 5 minutes at your race pace. You know, those are just examples of it, like 1 minute fast, 1 minute slow, or 2 minutes fast, 1 minute slow, 3 minutes fast, 2 minutes slow, you know, stuff like that. Now, pretty much the last thing you'll have to do in your week is long runs. Long runs are, to me, pretty crucial, as long with the tempos and making your time go down. Long runs are basically, as it sounds, the longest run you'll run all week. So let's say you have an 8-mile long run, right? Then that means none of your easy runs should be 8 miles, or none of your days throughout the week should be 8 miles. They should be probably at most 6 miles. You know, your long run's supposed to be the most you do. Long runs can even be turned into workouts the more advanced you get, including like 2 mile, 3 mile surges at tempo pace or a moderate pace, whatever you feel like, and stuff like that. But they're pretty crucial, and I'd say, you know, long runs usually are done on the weekend, like Saturday or Sunday. To help prevent injury, you're also going to want to do strength training, which basically working out, going to the gym and stuff. Me, personally, I do arms once a week because it's not as much of a priority as your legs and core. And then legs and core, I'll do twice a week. Another extra thing to kind of go along with strength training is strides. Strides are basically short sprints, So basically they're basically 100 to 150 meter sprints where you're trying to focus on your form and you get a lot of rest. So you're not really tiring yourself out. I usually would do these after easy runs, not all easy runs, but at least 2 easy runs a week. Do some strides after. Another suggestion I would have when you're training is probably in the summer or even during the season, go 3 weeks building up the mileage and then take the final week of the month as a down week. Down weeks are basically where you drop the mileage a little bit and help your body rest. It's a good way to prevent injury, overtraining, and wearing out, all that stuff. So for example, let's say in a month I start at 30, I go up to 33, then 37, right? That final week, I'm gonna do about 30. I'm gonna drop down about 30. Let my body rest, but still getting some work in. Now, another thing to keep note of is how to structure your training week. In the summer, the ideal week of training would be Monday, easy run with some strides after. Tuesday could either be a fartlek or a tempo workout. Wednesday is another easy day. Thursday will be a fartlek or a tempo workout again. Friday, easy day with some strides after. And Saturday would be your long run with a Sunday as your rest day to kind of help recover. As for strength training, to add on to that, I'd say Monday after your easy day, go do core. Wednesday, do legs. Thursday, do core. Friday, do legs. And Sunday, do arms. Now when you're in season, you're gonna have to start incorporating speed workout or V02 Max workouts. You could probably start doing those once a week along with the tempos. The tempos don't ever leave. You gotta keep doing those all throughout the season. You can probably start doing those on Thursdays during season and then do V02 and speed workout on Tuesdays. Maybe even throw in some hill repeats in there occasionally. But overall, the most important thing too is consistency. If you miss 1 day, 2 days, that's not gonna make or break you, but if you keep missing weeks, months of training, then it's gonna hurt you. And you're either gonna get worse or you're just not gonna get any better at all. And you can't wait to train during season time. You have to train in the summer if you want to see improvement. If you don't train in that off season, then you're not gonna get any better. But that's what I applied to myself throughout my high school career and how I went from a 21:30 all the way down to a 16:54 by the time of my senior year. I'm now running JUCO cross country. Gonna see how that goes. Try to go sub 16 5K and 27:28 for the 8K.